Imagine going on a holiday to one city and suddenly finding yourself in a completely different country. Most people might feel confused by such an unexpected change, even if some adventurous folks could find it exciting. Now, think about travelers who flew on Pan American Flight 914 on July 2, 1955. The plane was supposed to go from New York to sunny Miami, Florida, with 57 passengers eager to enjoy the warm beaches. Everything started fine, but after 3 hours, when it should have landed in Miami, it was nowhere to be found. The control tower in Miami couldn't see the plane on their radars, and there were no distress signals. It was as if the plane had vanished into thin air. This strange event left everyone with lots of questions and turned the flight into a mystery that lasted for many years. When air traffic control reached out to the New York Tower, they received a confusing response. Flight 914 had vanished from the radars midair. It seemed like the plane was lost. Not only did it disappear from the radars, but air traffic control couldn't establish contact with the pilots through the radio. The DC-4 simply disappeared into thin air, leaving no trace of itself or the people on board. An immediate investigation was initiated. The flight's route took it over a part of the Atlantic Ocean, suggesting a crash as the only explanation for its disappearance. Despite deploying rescue teams and scanning the waters, no pieces of the lost plane were found. Investigators were left puzzled, and the official statement eventually concluded that the plane had crashed, claiming the lives of everyone on board. Despite the grief and numerous questions from the relatives, the mystery of Flight 914 remained unsolved for 37 years. Fast forward to September 9, 1992, in Caracas, Venezuela. Juan de la Corte, an air traffic controller at the Caracas airport, was having a normal day at work. While giving minor comments on a flight in progress, something strange occurred. Out of nowhere, a new blip appeared on the radar, as if an aircraft had suddenly emerged or had been hiding from the radar and decided to reveal itself. It was an unusual sight, near a civil airport, and de la Corte double checked the readings, initially thinking it might be a mistake. However, the readings were correct, and in less than 10 minutes, an old DC-4 McDonnell Douglas passenger aircraft came into view. This aircraft, still equipped with propellers instead of modern turbines, was an outdated model. While such planes were still in use, they had mostly been replaced by more contemporary ones. But the strange things kept happening. The confusion began when the pilot of the mysterious plane talked to the control tower and asked in English, "Where are we?" Juan de la Corte, who was in charge, said they were getting close to the Caracas airport and asked where the flight was supposed to go. The pilot then said, "We are on Pan Am Flight 914, heading from New York to Miami, Florida, with a crew of 4 and 57 passengers on board." This surprised the air control. Why was a Pan Am flight so far from where it should be? And how did it end up here? De la Corte, not sure what to think, asked more questions, and the answers confused him even more. The pilot said they were supposed to land in Miami at 9:55 a.m. on July 2, 1955. The control tower went silent. To avoid making things worse, they let the plane land. De la Corte, not understanding what was happening, focused on making sure the plane landed safely. Ground units were called to help the plane and its passengers, and it landed without any problems. Feeling a bit relieved, Juan decided to ask about the strange situation. "Do you know today is May 20, 1992? Another pause followed, showing that mentioning the current date might have been a mistake. As the ground crew got closer to the plane, the confused voice of the pilot asked, "What are you talking about?" Hearing this, de la Corte realized he needed to send security guards to the plane to help the passengers and the crew. But then, something unexpected happened. Juan heard the airplane captain's panicked voice cry, "No! Stay away! We're leaving now!" He restarted the engines and taxied the plane to the runway without waiting for takeoff permission. Juan tried to stop him over the radio, warning him that he was creating a dangerous scenario. but the pilot did not reply. He just drove onto the runway, accelerated, and took off. The plane was first visible in the sky before becoming a dot on radar and then disappearing. There were no words to explain the shock Juan de la Corte and his colleagues at the air control tower were experiencing. Everyone's just seen an ancient airplane emerge out of nowhere, with the pilot informing them it was on its way to Miami. And before everyone could react, it flew away again, disappearing in thin air, as if it had been a collective hallucination. That jet was never seen again, and no one knows what occurred that morning in Caracas. Smells kind of fishy, right? We must admit, however, that there is significant debate concerning the legitimacy of this incident. This story was initially covered by a tabloid named Weekly World News in 1985, 7 years before the most popular version debuted. Later, the same newspaper rehashed the tale twice again, but with different facts in 1992 as the date when a time-traveling aircraft appeared in the future. The image of Juan de la Corte, an air traffic controller in Caracas, also varied from the 1985 version. The story was mostly declared fake, becoming more like an urban legend. Despite this, the legend continues to circulate, with various sources retelling it in their own versions. Some even claim that the passengers of the plane eventually returned to their homes. And oddly, none of them appeared to have aged a day in the 37 years that passed, while everyone they knew aged normally. According to these tales, doctors examined the pilot, the crew, and the passengers but found nothing unusual. Everyone seemed perfectly healthy. However, this part of the story seems highly unlikely, as there is no concrete evidence supporting the idea of 61 people returning from a flight that lasted for decades. I mean, wouldn't they have run out of snacks or something? A curious item that often sparks the curiosity of those interested in the paranormal is a small pocket calendar said to have been left on the Caracas airport runway during the strange incident with the mysterious plane. Supposedly from 1955, this calendar is claimed to be the sole artifact from that peculiar encounter. While some people insist the calendar is real, there is no actual evidence supporting its existence. It could be just another tall tale, an urban legend, or perhaps even a massive conspiracy to conceal the possibility of time travel. The truth remains elusive, and we may never know for sure. What's your take on it? Do you believe Flight 914 was truly lost in time for 37 years? Or do you think it's all a hoax? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this information interesting, give the video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And don't fly away just yet. There might be more to discover.